What's up, guys? Today we're going to be finally going over a build I've been wanting to show you guys for quite a while now. And that's going to be the Tarrabah mixed with the Titan solar build. And this absolutely shreds and turns you into the Destiny 2 Terminator. And before we begin with the video, my code AIR is 30% off for GFUEL through the 4th. If you ever wanted to support me above just watching my videos, this is the best way. Go ahead and click the link in the comments description. It'll take you over to the store. Find something new that sounds good to you or restock on all of your favorites. So definitely take advantage of that while it lasts. So jumping into the video, if you don't have the Tarrabah, you can still get it from the kiosk in the tower from the Forsaken tab. All you have to do is save up these materials and you can unlock it for you. This originally came from the Crown of Sorrow raid. And it is honestly one of the best exotics in the history of Destiny 2 that really never saw that much usage just because of how much you have to focus into it to take advantage of its perk. So we look at it just normally without the perk going. It's 1306 on Carl. Looking at the rate of fire of 30 shots. It's going to take 2.4 seconds, which means roughly 16,000 DPS, which isn't that good. It's definitely mid-pack for a primary weapon. There are a lot of other SMGs that can get a lot higher and even sidearms. But the whole point of this weapon is to use its perk, which is when you do damage or receive damage with a weapon, it'll charge it up. And you can even see this visually on the left side of the screen. And once you have Ravenous Beast ready, you hold reload to convert the weapon, which will make it shoot faster and do more damage and also reload faster. And the fastest way to do this is just simply do damage and receive damage. I think the receiving damage is the fastest way, but obviously you're going to die if you just sit there and take damage forever. One thing to note is it has to be damage from an outside source. You can't damage yourself with, let's say, a sticky grenade. But one thing that is cool is environmental damage. So standing in the stuff on Nexus will charge up the weapon. So if you really want to, there are ways to pre-charge it without having enemies around. But that leads me to why this weapon really was never meta, even though it is, as you'll see, one of the strongest primaries in the game. And that's simply because if you want to use this weapon, you have to keep it out at all times to charge it up. If you swap weapons and stow it, you'll lose all of your progress. And they should have done this a long time ago, but I don't think it's too late. They need to give it the Vex treatment and make it keep your progress when you stow the weapon. And if they really want to, make it so when it's stowed and you receive damage, it even charges it. But once you have Ravenous Beast going and you hold reload to convert it to the damage perk, you'll get it for 7 seconds, and it'll now hit for 2634 on Carl, which is just slightly over 2x damage. And as you see, the weapon fires way faster. So look at the new rate of fire with Ravenous Beast going, shooting off the same 30 shots. It's gonna be much faster at 1.9 seconds now, which means the DPS with the perk going is over 41,000, which is obviously way higher than every primary in the game, and in there with special weapons. And this perk doesn't just last for the 7 seconds. As you do damage with the perk going, it will pause the timer. And from using this weapon off and on throughout the years, if you shoot at a single target, it will eventually stop pausing the timer. But if you're constantly swapping between targets, it will constantly not only pause the timer, but actually add time back. So once you're under 2 seconds, as you see in this opening clip, it will keep jumping back up to 2 seconds. So in theory, as long as there's enough enemies around, you could keep it going forever. So now looking at the build that will turn you into the Terminator, you could just simply throw it on the old solar build on bottom tree with the Path of the Burning Steps, along with Well of Ordnance, Elemental Ordnance, Explosive Wellmaker, Quantum Might, then also Bountiful Wells. And with this, you get the 35% buff of Firewalker ×4, along with the 25% buff of Quantum Might. But like I mentioned, to fully take advantage of Tarrabah, you want to only be getting kills with it. So I think the better subclass is going to be top tree for Timber Metal, which will increase your reload and movement speed. And this tree also comes with Melting Point, which will come in handy for higher health targets. And now look at the mods. The first one we're going to be using now is going to be Elemental Armaments to make solar elemental wells from the Tarrabah kills itself. And what we can do is use the new stasis mod, the Elemental Time Dilation, which will make it so stacking multiple copies of Quantum Might will increase the timer. And what we'll do is use 3 of them. That way we'll have that Quantum Might for a very long time and not have to go out of our way to pick up these solar elemental wells. So now as we use this build, as we get kills with the Tarrabah, we'll charge up the perk, get Firewalker ×4, which will be that 35% buff, create these solar wells, pick them up, and we'll get Quantum Might for 21 seconds. So you don't have to go out of your way to pick them up. Just simply playing, you'll get one and you'll pick it up and you'll have it for quite a while. That way, once you have the perk, you can just focus on just slaying out as hard as possible. Now with all this going on Carl, we hit 4444, which will take the DPS to almost 70,000, which is now up there with heavy weapons. And this is a full auto SMG shooting at like 1,000 RPM. And we can go even further by also applying Melting Point to a single target and now take the damage to 5777 on Carl, which means the DPS is now 90,000, which is up there with some of the best burst heavy weapons in the entire game. For example, rocket launchers and things like Deathbringer. So yeah, this build just absolutely shreds. It just simply just kills things before you can even tell you're shooting at them. I mean, you just have a crowd of enemies and just spray randomly. The next thing you know, they're all dead in like 0.5 seconds. It is pretty crazy. In the right situations, you can keep extending the perk and make it last for a very long time. And there's really not much more to say. It just simply shreds. And one comment I see a lot on a lot of my builds is, how does this work in Legend Lost Sectors? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be making a video going over the best build for each character for Legend Lost Sectors. But if you're looking at all my other videos, if it's a solar or stasis build, which a lot of them have been this season, you can easily convert all of them to Legend Lost Sector builds. If there's overloads, you just simply use Thermoclastic Strike from the artifact. If it's unstoppable, you just use Unstoppable Fusion and Linear Fusion, which would work with pretty much all my builds this season because I'm using at least one of those two things. Then if there are barrier champions, you can run an AR. But honestly, with Linear Fusion Rifles and Particle Deconstruction, with the right build going on, you can two-shot and sometimes even one-shot them. So you really don't even need to change to an AR, but if you want to play safe, you could. So for example, you could easily take this build into a Legend Lost Sector that has a heavy accurate section, and you'd pretty much just use the linear for the champions. Then for the accurate, you just use the full combo with the Tarrabah perk and just absolutely shred through it. And one that comes to mind off the top of my head that this would work really well for would be the Perdition Lost Sector on Europa. I don't remember exactly the name. It's the left one on Europa. I'm pretty sure that is the Perdition one. And I could definitely see this being extremely strong. You'd proc the Tarrabah for the middle section where you come up the staircase and you would just shred through absolutely everything in that area. So yeah, I definitely want to address that situation. And another thing to add on to that is, most people that are farming Legend Lost Sectors, which are only 1320 light, you're more than likely above that light level. So it's not like you're playing under light, so it wouldn't even be that much of a difference in terms of like damage output and stuff like that. So I just don't really see the point of that argument at all. But like I mentioned, I will be making a video tomorrow that the builds will be exactly for Legend Lost Sectors. So definitely look forward to that if that's something you've been waiting for. Once again, my code AIR is 30% off for GFUEL through the 4th, so definitely take advantage of that. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.